special guest, first time here at Plug Studio Network. We're going to give y'all a little time to come on in, chime on in. Shout out to everybody on all of the pages. I see it coming through. Got a special guest in the building. If you've been following me on social media, you'll know who I have here with me today. We're going to give you guys time to get in here. Let's see. There we go. Oh, we look good. We look good, brother. We look good.
Thank you.
Chill. How we sound out there, world? How we sound? How we sound? Ooh, my fault. All right, we got some people tuning in. I was going to do some tagging. I'm going to let my team do that, but I just want to let y'all know who I have here today. You may have seen the flyers and everything. I have Mr. Mark W. Turley. He is running for U.S. Senate 2020. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about him, and then we're going to get into some questions and answers. It's going to be a different kind of flow, not on your normal, political type scene, because y'all know this is Plug Studio Network, where the viewers get to ask questions and we live, and I got some of your questions from earlier. We just going to have fun with it and have a comfortable night. So tell them a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it. Great studio. So I'm Mark Turley. I'm running for the U.S. Senate. I'm running on the Independent Party of Delaware ticket. So I am not a politician. I'm a business person my entire life. I work just like everybody else did. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an independent person. I don't owe anything to anybody. So when I came to this about a year ago, I came up with the idea to think through, could a regular person run for the United States Senate and be successful? A business person, anybody, a mom, a dad. And I started studying it about a year ago, and I came to me and I just said, yeah, we can do it. Anybody can do it.
Right.
And I came up with basically 3 goals for this campaign. Number 1, I want to win. And I want to win.
I know
There's
that's
no
right.
doubt about it. Number 2, I wanted to educate myself about the political system and how people go, what they have to go through to run for political office at any level. And number 3, I'm hoping to inspire other people who are not politicians to get involved in politics at the local level, city level, state level, or federal level like myself.
Right.
So not being a politician, it was a shock to a lot of people that somebody who's not a politician in Delaware is running for the United States Senate. It was a shock.
Yes.
I met with the Republican Party. They didn't think that it was a good idea for me to do this.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to deter you from the jump.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I didn't meet with the Democrat Party because I didn't have anybody to even get in touch with the Democrat Party. So I found the Independent Party of Delaware. They're a great group of people. They allow their candidates to set their own platform. We don't have any rules or regulations that we have to go by. I met with them 3 times. They interviewed me, I interviewed them, and we agreed on a lot. We agreed that the government is messed up. The federal government's messed up. It's messed up to the point that people at the local level they're just not in touch with us at all. You cannot pick up the phone and call your senator or your representative. You can't email them. You can email them, but I guarantee
You don't get no response. Trust me,
you'll
I
get
know.
you'll get a patented response back. Hey, we got your email. We'll take a look at it, and that's it. You email me, and I will ask you to email me tonight. You'll get an answer from me. You call me, and my phone number's on my webpage. I answer the phone. Nobody else.
That's what's up.
And I tell you, if you ask me a question like you're going to ask me tonight, I'm going to give you an answer, and I'm going to give you my answer, my honest answer. That's the way I'm operating this whole thing. I got great people with me. Jordan Colombo is here in Kent County helping me. He's setting up some events and things like this. It's great to have people like Jordan who came to me and he called me one day and he said, Mark, I'm very interested in what you're doing and what you stand for. I took a look. I think you found my webpage first or something like that. And I said, Jordan, you're on board.
That's
Just because he picked up the phone and he called me, I wanted him. I wanted him real bad because he took the interest. So I'll give you a real brief history. So I'm a business person. I own a small business like a lot of people that own small businesses. I've got hurt bad over the last 6 months with coronavirus lockdowns and things like that. My income went virtually to nothing. I recovered. I'm doing okay now. I'll be fine. Made it through like a lot of people. Somehow figured out a way to make it through. I'm married. We have 3 grown daughters and 1 granddaughter.
Awesome.
I think about my granddaughter all the time, and I think about what is this country going to be like in 10 years, 20 years. And I honestly want to be the guy that gets into the U.S. Senate and starts to make changes. I want to make changes for the better for this country. I want things to be better for everybody. So that's kind of what I'm about. I'm a very basic guy. Being in business my entire career, if you ask me a question, I give you an answer. If you send me something that's a problem, I solve it. I've solved problems my entire life. That's what I do.
So tell me, I got a question because, you know, with this whole COVID situation, you see how everything is being handled. I want to know, do you believe in the science?
Okay, it's definitely something is there. You know, there is a virus. It is a COVID-19 virus. There's no doubt about it. And it's a terrible thing to get. I don't want to get it. I don't want anybody else to get it. I want it to end. I want it to end in a big way. So yes, I do believe in the science. I believe that it came over from China. I believe that to be true. I believe our government took some steps to slow it down and try to stop it. But I believe at some levels there were some problems that people didn't react fast enough. Things didn't happen exactly the way it should have. But it's serious. There's no doubt about it.
Right. Because I feel like more should be coming from our leader in advance. You know, I feel like the leader of our country right now, he could have done more, and especially with him getting that.
Right.
I feel like he should even gave us even more.
Well, and to the point of him getting it, I'm glad he recovered. He's the president of the United States. I prayed for him, to be honest with you, and I wanted him to recover. What I wanted to see after he recovered was a little humility. Like, hey guys, I got it too. I suffered. I know what you're going through, and we're going to get through this. That's what I wanted to see.
Okay, we got some questions starting to come in. Ramon McMillan, New Jersey to Delaware. He wants to know, what's the first thing you want to handle if you're elected to office?
The first thing, it's on the top of my platform, it is term limits for Congress. And I will explain that.
Yes.
Right now, you have in the Senate and the House unlimited term. They can win elections over and over and over again. And they do. When an incumbent tries to get reelected, they win 95% of the time. The polls that are out there and the surveys that are taken tell me that our Congress is not very well liked. We have a lot of problems with the senators and the representatives, to the point that they only usually get about 20% favorability. So they're not doing their jobs. And they don't have to do their jobs because they just keep winning elections over and over and over again, and they stay in. I did a study on this very early in the game. There are over 30 of our senators who have close to 40 years of government duty in the House or the Senate. Then there's another group that have over 30 years of being reelected over and over and over again. It's my point that the Senate should have 2 6-year terms max, 12 years, done. The House, they go every 2 years, so my theory there is 6 2-year terms, 12 years max. They can do something else. They can take they can try to win another spot. They can go to be a governor or a House or a Senate, but not to stay in the same position year after year after year. And the reason why I believe firmly that they get very comfortable, there's a lot of money that goes around Washington, D.C., big money that's out there that flows into these campaigns and into these politicians'
Right.
coffers. I want to end that. I want to end it and end it now.
I like that. That's like they're becoming complacent in their positions.
Exactly.
Year after year after year, no change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So, we got another question. The death of George Floyd in May 2020, also Breonna Taylor, provoked nationwide protests against racial injustice and police brutality, particularly towards Black Americans. This expanding movement has led to an ongoing conversation how to reimagine policing in the United States. How will you tackle the issues of police brutality and racism in the criminal justice system?
Okay.
Will you support the Justice and Policing Act?
Big question. It is a big question, and it's an important question. So at the level of U.S. Senator, I believe we have influence in this problem. And I believe they are taking no influence now. They're not doing anything about it. I believe we need to really take a good hard look at how these systems work, state to state, city to city. Try to come up with something, some commonality as to how the police forces should work. There are bad police. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I saw it. It was right in front of us all. We all saw it. But there are good police.
Right.
And we need good law enforcement. But it's got to come in a way that's evenly distributed. It can't be just blacks being harassed or having a problem. It has to be evenly distributed the way it's supposed to be. Equal justice under the law. That is what our Constitution says. It doesn't mean there's something different for you than for me, or for you or for you. It's all the same. And it has to be that way. And our Congress sits and does nothing about this problem. This is one of the biggest problems that we've got in this country today, because look at what it causes. It causes
separation.
Absolutely. It causes people to hate people for no reason.
For no reason.
No reason. And we shouldn't do that. Hey, I'm not big on saying everybody needs to love everybody, but we do. We honestly do. We need to come to a point where we are all together in this as Americans, not Black Americans and white Americans and Chinese or Asian, whatever. We're all Americans, and we're all under this. We're all in it together.
That's right. Okay, so you call yourself a problem solver, and according to Delaware Public Media, you stated that the people of this country deserve more from our legislators, and I don't think they're getting it. And it said it would be my goal to get to the bottom of what are the major problems that we can solve through legislation. So I had a young lady send in a question. She moved here to Delaware, I want to say 2005, she said. And she said that this is a racist state. So her question is, what do you do about race relations in Delaware?
Okay, and again, this goes back to, you have 2 senators and 1 representative today in Delaware, right? They are never here. Never.
I don't get to see them.
Never. Nobody does. It would first, right out of the gate, one of the things that I have that's on the top of my platform is 12 meetings a year, town hall meetings, 4 in the north, 4 in the middle, 4 in the south. Town hall meetings once a month where I come to them like this. You come to them, you all come to them, and we talk about it. Right now, you're not getting that. You know you're not getting any of that.
I know I'm not.
And this is something that I saw. There was a Democratic woman out in Arizona when I lived out there for a couple years. She did it, and she was very successful, except for she got shot. There was a wacko guy in the audience that shot her. She got through it. She's okay now. There's a woman in Virginia. Her name is Stempberger. She holds town hall meetings. She's a representative. And
I like town hall meetings.
She is loved by her constituents because she talks to them. What is the problem with Chris Coons or Tom Carper or Lisa Rochester coming and talking to us?
Yeah.
They have to. So that's the start of it. That didn't answer the question. That just is how I would start to get to the solution
Right.
of race relations, right?
Right.
I never saw Delaware as being racist, but I'm not exposed to it that much. I live in Millsboro. You know, it's a kind of a quiet, sleepy town. I'm not in the middle of Wilmington. I'm not in the middle of Dover, right?
Right.
I would get in the middle of Wilmington and get in the middle of Dover and figure out what the heck is going on.
Right.
Because I feel that that's a huge problem in the country and in Delaware. And we've got to get to the bottom of that. And it goes back to almost the same thing with the police and brutality and things like that. There are solutions to this, but you know what it takes? Talking to each other,
Communication.
working it out, communication. And you don't get that today from your senators or your representative or your governor or anybody for that matter.
Right. Okay. I'm loving this. I got some other questions here for you. All right. They would love to know your views on Black Lives Matter and the recent tearing down of historic statues.
Yeah, that's another very intense situation. So Black Lives Matter, I don't understand the organization very well. I understand the issue, and I'm behind it 100%. All lives matter. Your lives matter. My life matters. But what occurred was with the Floyd situation, it brought it to a head, right? So the Black Lives Matter organization, I'm just not very familiar with it. I don't understand it completely, but I know they're driving in the right direction. They're taking things in the right direction. I think, though, we've all got to be on board with this now, though. You know, it can't be riots and burning buildings down and tearing statues down. I don't think that does anything for anybody. I think it just causes more problems.
Right.
You know, and I don't like to see people that are doing it that don't understand why they're doing it. I've seen interviews with people, why are you taking that statue down? Because we're just doing it, right? Well, that's not a really good answer.
No.
You know.
A lot of those statues were taken down because they were symbolisms, you know,
For racism.
for
Yeah.
racism.
Yeah.
You know, me myself, you know, some of them I felt needed to come down because it was a constant reminder
Right.
to us. You know what I'm saying? And some I felt like the military ones. That's what shook me. And you know, speaking to my family members who were military, some felt like they needed to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, because it's part of history. So you know, you talk to your family and things like that, you get different sides. Me, I'm different. I felt like anything that's reminding me of what my ancestors went through needed to come down. So you know, but look, we're gonna move on. We got a lot of questions popping in.
Well,
All right, so Ramon wants to know, what plans do you have to support small businesses? And this brick house will get right to you.
yeah, that's perfect. I am a small business, and I believe that we've made strides in the last 4 years to support small business, and COVID hit, and that was a disaster for all of us. But I want to see the tax code properly structured to support small businesses. I'd love to see the government get out of the way, and you'll see that in my platform. I talk about it a lot. The federal government needs to get out of the way and let us do our thing. Let us run our businesses. Don't overregulate us. Don't overtax us. If any of you have small businesses like I do, you have to write a check at the end of the year. I write that check. It's a big check, believe me, and it kills me. I pay for both sides of my Medicare and Social Security, just like everybody else that runs a small business. You pay employees or whatever you do. It's tough. It's gotten better, I believe, in the last 4 years, and I think we got to go further and further. I said, get the federal government out of our way.
Yep. I feel like they need to have, you know, especially with COVID, this whole C, I can't say it, but I don't want them to shut us down with the whole C word. You know, I feel like they're not giving enough money to the small businesses to kind of bail them out. They don't understand. They got people that's working for them. They got a building that they may be leasing out. that little bit of money that they're sending out to help to help these small businesses is just not enough.
Yeah.
And then they want to, I like what you said about move the federal government out of it because they're putting all these regulations on what you can and can't do.
Right.
How is someone who has a restaurant that can only have it 30% full, whether it's small or big, be able to survive through this? And some of these businesses I'm seeing that are great places to be, you're seeing them go down the drain because there's just no support. So I like your stance on that.
Yeah.
Real talk. Yeah. All right. Ms. Brickhouse, she said, will you initiate, write, support, and fight for laws that will govern the prosecution of police officers who break the law?
Absolutely. Equal justice under the law. That's the name of the game. If a police officer does something that breaks the law, I don't think I even need to write legislation. It's already there. We need to enforce it.
Yeah, it depends on some. I look at the news a lot, and I be feeling like everything's right there in front of our face. We saw this happen. So why are they getting a suspension? If it was me, I'd be under the jail somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
so
saying?
would I.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'd be under the jail somewhere.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's the world. It's like you said, we got to get them terms shorter and get those people who are complacent in them positions that have been there 40 and 50 years up out of there. You heard what he said, right? All right. Told you it's going to be fun up here. I'm different. All right. Got another question. It says, will you focus efforts to reinvigorate the funding for after-school programs, parks and recreation, and other programs to continue the wholesome development of our youth outside of school?
Sure. This is an easy one for me. We're going to talk a little bit about education, and then we're going to get into the after-school programs and recreation. So education today is controlled by the federal government at the end of the day. The states, the local and states, send money up to the federal government. The federal government then sends it back down to the states and locals with carrots attached to them, strings attached to it. Wow. You have to do things this way. Mm-hmm. The federal government, the Department of Education shouldn't even exist in the federal government. It should be 100% run by the state and local level. 100%. We pay taxes, we pay school taxes, right? Mm-hmm. We fund our schools, right? They're run at the local level. What does the federal government have to do with that? Nothing. It's just, again, power. It's power. They want to control everything, and they should not be controlling our school systems. So after-school programs are extremely important. I have, in my family alone, 4 teachers and 1 Head Start program worker, right? My sister works for Head Start. So I understand the school system as good as anybody. I've lived with teachers my whole life, right? I believe the after-school program should be funded, and I believe money will be there to be funded if we take the federal government out of it and allow the state and local governments to control their money and control their funding. Parks and recreation. I filled out an entire survey on this. It was a group. It was a nature group of some sort. Sent me a survey, and I filled it out. 100% believe that there should be money, programs available to continue to support local parks and recreation. The beaches, for instance, in Delaware. I love it. I go there all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
When I was growing up, I went to this one, it was through Upward Bound, and it was called the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. It's where you got to go out onto the river and get to learn about the water and all that. I'm like, where are those programs at when I was coming up? What happened to them? The after-school programs, because you look out here now, so many of our youth are out here with weapons in their hands, guns in their hand, taking people's lives and just messing up their life. And I feel like it needs to be more after-school programs. And that when I ask about these things, a lot of people are telling me that the funding isn't there. So I like that. Take the funding, use the federal government for the funding, and take,
The only part of education federal government should be involved in is sending money downward, if they have it. If part of my platform is a balanced federal budget, by the way, we can talk about that later, because I think it's extremely important. Okay. We don't have a balanced federal budget now, you know that. We run in a deficit.
Right. I got you there. So, we here, y'all. You got question, answer, share the live. Getting down to the nitty gritty. He wants your vote. This is a dope interview. I'm feeling comfortable. We about to get right on to it. All right. Where is it at? I got a whole nother page of questions on it. All right. Oh, they want to know, what is your stand on the corporate tax shield laws in Delaware? And they want to know, why are you running as independent?
I'll answer the independent question first. I talked about it briefly in my beginning. I interviewed with the Republicans because I'm fairly conservative, but I have a liberal side, and you'll see that in my health care when we talk about that a little bit, and Medicaid and programs like that. But I interviewed with the Republican Party, the GOP head in Delaware, 3 times, and at the third interview, I felt strongly that they were going to tell me what I should believe in and what I should talk about and what I should represent. They wanted the control. I wanted the control because I want to talk to people and understand where we at on this problem. I don't care what the Republicans or the Democrats think. Where are we at? What do you think? What do you think? You know, how do we figure this out? So I left the meeting and I said, I got to find another way, and I found the Independent Party of Delaware. It's a small party, like I explained. It's about 8,000 people now, which isn't bad.
Oh, it's a whole lot more because
Yeah.
it was way less than that when I first moved to Delaware.
Yeah, and there's 162,000 registered voters that are not registered to a party. They're unaffiliated. They're not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm hoping some of you are in that field and you like what we're talking about tonight and you like this kind of representation. But yeah, and the first question was the corporate shield laws in Delaware. They're very, very old. It's complicated. Financial companies have moved to Delaware because it's a good place to keep their money. I'm going to say this, I don't completely understand the full breadth of the corporate shield laws in Delaware, but I think they need to be looked at for sure, because it's a place maybe that there's a lot of money being held and not taxed properly and things like that. And again, I believe that in the federal government as well. I believe there are so many programs that are mishandled that if we got our handle on them, we would have money to do these things, wouldn't be wasted. And I think we waste a lot of money.
Okay. So one of the things that I hear a lot about, you know, it's in the Supreme Court. They're trying to get rid of, well, it's one of the things on the Supreme Court list is to getting rid of Obamacare. Let's talk about health care.
Yeah.
You know, how do you feel about Obamacare? There's a lot of people who have that health care.
I did.
A lot. You did?
Yeah.
You had it?
I had to have it. It's the only thing that was available for 8
Right.
years because I own my own business.
Right.
So I'm going to say I suffered some under Obamacare because it was so expensive for me to have, and the policies were not good. So the people that had to pay for Obamacare paid a lot of money for it, and I didn't have any choices. The biggest problem with Obamacare that I had, it limited healthcare companies from competing state to state. It drew lines around each state. So how many companies did we have in Delaware that would sell healthcare? One. That's all.
Right.
And so the way I solve this, I don't want the federal government in my health care. I do not want it. And you'll probably hear that about a few other things. I don't want the federal government in my business a lot. So I think health care, we can privatize it again. We can allow competition across state lines. We can bring the costs down very, very easily, believe me. And we can create a program under the Medicaid program that's already in existence that's a safety net for unfortunate people who don't have the funds to be able to pay for health care. I don't think it can be completely free, but it can be on a scale of some sort.
Based on,
So I like Medicaid. I think it's a great program because it gives people something. It helps them.
That's
it
right.
helps them, right? We got to solidify it and extend it and expand it, if that makes sense, right? So it's part of the government's responsibility to make sure that all of our citizens are taken care of. That's part of their responsibility, and this is part of it.
Right.
So you can, I believe we can privatize health care. I believe Obamacare was too complicated.
Did you have an Obama phone? I just want to
No,
ask.
I didn't. I did not.
You know everybody had that Obama
No,
phone.
I did not.
I was like, man, I can't even get an Obama phone. I was just curious. I just had to get you laughing here.
No, I didn't. No.
Okay. I'm just being funny, but go ahead. I
Yeah.
didn't cut you
So
off.
again, privatizing healthcare to me takes it out of the federal hands, but we again bring that safety net into play. There are millions of people who can't afford good healthcare coverage at a high cost, but they can afford healthcare coverage at a very reasonable cost. And when you have competition across state lines, you bring prices down, and that's the name of the game. Bring prices down. Everybody can afford it. Medicaid's expanded. Everybody has to have medical coverage. It's an essential thing in life. You have to have it.
Exactly. All right, so we got another question, man. This is good. I'm enjoying this. What could the LGBTQ community expect from you holding office?
Well, throughout my life, I've had friends who are in that community. I have a couple relatives that are in that community, and I have no issues with any of it at all. Great people, across the board. I think, it's a protected class at this point now. To some point, it is, and I think at the end of the day, they're no different than any of us. We're all people, right? And I think they struggle a little bit. That community struggles a little bit because they think they've been beat up too often and taken advantage of and things like that. They really worked hard to get their story out, and I appreciate the fact that they did that. And I would continue to support it. I have no problems, no issues with it at all. Yeah.
Okay. So you told me you liked my hat.
I love your hat.
That let me know that you knew something.
Yeah.
He knew something. He liked the hat. So there are just a lot of things that are trying to stop for my people. So I just want to know that we got your support to fight for us.
Oh yeah.
I saw on your card, support the goal of racial and gender equality through common sense legislation.
Yeah.
So that's what's up.
And I've signed a pledge to that extent too. It's amazing when you're running for office. I didn't know, I learned a lot. And I would get surveys over these last 3 or 4 weeks coming in from all different communities and different organizations asking me to fill out a survey. I would fill it out honestly, and that was one of them. I got a survey from that community, from an organization, and I filled it out honestly, and I support it. So it's it's going to get support from me.
When I throw this big Delaware black gay pride, I'm coming to find you. Okay?
I'm there. I'm there. I'm there.
I know you will be. I was just making.
Yeah.
You gotta get to know me. I like you. You're cool. All right, so I got another question here. Do you support $15 minimum wage, and why?
So again, that's the federal government coming down on that. I don't believe the federal government should be involved in that question. I believe the state government should be. And you'll see, I studied the Constitution for the last 3 years. I took 2 Constitution classes. I read the Federalist Papers 3 or 4 times. I understand the difference between the federal government and the state government, and I think I have a handle on what the federal government should be involved in and what the state government should be involved in. And I believe this one is a state issue. It's different from state to state to state. Do you think $15 is a good minimum wage for New York City? No.
No.
Do you think it's good for maybe
Lower Delaware?
Yeah, Lower Delaware? Yeah, it probably is. So I think each state has to take a look at it. And again, it's like a living wage question. Does everybody deserve a living wage? Well, yeah, obviously they do. You've got to be able to survive.
Yes.
You're working 40 hours or more. Hey, I think we all did it. I know you probably did. I did. I worked 2-3 jobs when I was growing up to make enough money to pay my bills and do what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a living wage. But again, I take it down to the state level because each state would need to think that through.
Yeah, that's a great. So you know me, I mean, I started from the bottom. I remember my first job was making $5 and some change.
Yeah.
And you got some jobs you can go to McDonald's and make more money than somebody working at like a grocery store. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. I always wonder how that all worked out. It's very marketable out here, especially with the situation going on, our pandemic that's going on. I've noticed that people can go to Target right now and start making $15 an hour working there, and I'm like, wow. How does a business like what I run even try to compete with
Right,
that?
right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So that's great. Let's talk about energy because
Yeah.
I was listening to an interview. I forget who it was with. I found it online, and you were talking about going green. Let's
Right.
talk a little bit about that.
Right. So renewable energy, I've been working in that field for 20 years.
Okay.
So my business, I basically represent 5 manufacturers across the country, and I have a group of about 10 customers who come to me for parts and pieces to be manufactured, and they're all in renewable energy. So I've been involved in large-scale projects that are out in the Nevada desert. I've been involved in large-scale projects that are down in Central Florida. I've been involved in residential rooftop solar energy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've been involved in wind energy. I've spoke at numerous conferences across the nation for manufacturing into the renewable energy market. And when I started 20 years ago, believe me, nobody even knew what I was talking about. And I had a vision, and I said, renewable energy is coming to this country. I actually traveled to Europe a couple of times on business, and I was in Germany, and I saw renewable energy growing in Germany big, big, big time because they wanted it, and they
Right.
promoted it. So for me, we all have a responsibility to be as good as we can be stewards to this earth. And part of what I do today is I represent companies that manufacture for renewable energy companies. So it's important to me that we all participate in this. And it can bring jobs to Delaware. I've
Yes.
already talked, there's a company out of New Jersey that potentially wants to build an electric car factory in Rehoboth, in the Rehoboth area.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm not involved in that today, but as a U.S. Senator, I would be involved in that. And I would make sure that Delaware was in a position to bring companies like that on board. Jobs. It's all about jobs.
Yeah, it is.
Delaware lost a ton of manufacturing jobs over the last 15, 20 years. And we have labor and we have facilities. We've got to get the jobs back, and I think renewable energy is the way to go.
Yeah.
It's one way to go.
Yeah, I heard, I was trying to find the article here on my phone that the city of Dover, I think I read it yesterday, that they're about to go with the solar panels.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you got some homes now seen throughout, and it's got to save money on electric.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like something like that, just off the record, this don't have none. I'm just curious, how much does that cost? Big money?
So no, now it's come down. So when I started 20 years ago, you couldn't afford to put panels up on your roof. They were so expensive. Each year the prices come down. The price of the components have come down. Depending on the size of your roof, the situation, north, south, east, west, it's different. But it is affordable at this point. One thing that I want the state to do is promote it by offering they can offer tax breaks or tax credits to people that do it, that spend their money out of their pocket, maybe $10,000 for a system on their roof. Maybe they get a $3,000 tax credit.
Oh, okay.
You know, there is there's an investment tax credit legislation that's on the books that at the end of 2019, our Congress let it slide. They didn't renew it. So it's the amount of tax credit now federally is sliding each year, and they should have renewed it to keep it going. The need for energy in this country is what? Growing. Every day. It grows every day. And we've got to solve it. We've got to get away from, the further away we get from fossil fuel and the closer we get to renewable energy, the better it is for us all.
Right. I was thinking about them forest fires out there in California, and the comment from our leader I just didn't like. So, I mean, my thing is I don't know too much about it. I'm starting to read about it, how
Right.
we can change things. Can you expound upon that for us?
Sure. So the forests in California, from what I understand, have been mismanaged for a long time. There are things that they can do to thin out forest and to make breaks and things like that, and California wasn't doing it right. I'm not blaming them 100%, but at the end of the day, I'm very familiar with the issue because I'm very good friends with a man who has a renewable energy system that can take your house and take it off the grid completely. It's got a battery system and a solar system, and it sells in California big time because what they end up doing when they have these forest fires, they cut the electricity off to thousands and thousands of homes. Because if they don't, and the fire keeps going, it just sparks more fires and more fires and more fires. So it's a huge problem out there. And again, it goes back to, what do you want? Do you want to spend some money today and move towards renewable energy and get rid of some fossil fuels and get a little safer, across the board?
Hey, I like that. You got me all up into this renewable energy.
I've been living it for 20 years.
All right,
20 years.
I love it. Because I know they used to have grants at one time, people converting over could save money, different things like that, and that stuff is all gone. Okay. So, is there anything you wanted to, because I'm buying, what's your favorite music?
Well,
I'm going off the grid. We're going to get to some other questions.
One of the other platform issues is campaign finance reform.
Yeah.
So I've been through it. I lived it now for the last year. I know what I have to do to finance my campaign. And I have very little money, believe me. I raised whatever I could raise through friends and family, business associates, my website. People donate $5, $10, $20, and I chipped away and I got enough money to get signs out there, get on the radio a little bit. I did some of that stuff. That's all me. That's all me. Jordan, who put up the signs? Me and you. We did.
Wow.
I didn't hire somebody to put them up.
Yeah.
The other candidates in this election have millions of dollars. They get funding from pharmaceutical companies, big businesses, millions of dollars.
Oh, and they making some promises, huh?
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
They are making promises that I believe should be off the table. So what I signed was a pledge. It's called the American Promise. It sets up limits on how much money a campaign can spend. So if you're running for president, senator, representative, governor, whatever it is, we would set limits. So maybe it's $100,000, maybe whatever the number is for whatever office you're running, that's the limit. So what that takes off the table is pharmaceutical companies. If I'm going to tell you the number right now, but it blows my mind. $27 to $37 million per year goes into these campaigns for senators and representatives.
How would they put that into something else in these communities, man?
Why do you think they put it into campaigns?
So that they can get some tax breaks, something.
Whatever.
Man.
Yeah, there's something going on.
Something
right?
going on. We might have to dig into that together, Mr. Turley.
yeah. And again,
we're gonna find out.
I believe that the public can still fund campaigns, but at a limit.
Right.
It's not fair for Chris Coons to have a bankroll of $5 million and Mark Turley to scrape $10,000 together to run a campaign.
Wow.
It's not fair.
Chris Coons, what you doing with all that money, bro? What you doing with that money, bro? Huh? You know we got communities out there that can use some of that money. Won't you invest into these urban communities, bro? Huh? So you was telling me about, we was talking on the way in about the debates.
Yeah.
Get it off your chest, man. Tell them.
Yeah, I've been shut out of Delaware debates, which is put on at the University of Delaware College. And the reason I've been shut out is because they had 6 ways you could get in a debate. If you're a politician already, an official, you have 4 automatic ways you get in because you've run for office already. So they put you in. If you're not, if you have never run for office, you've never won an office, you've never participated in a campaign, you have 2 ways to get in. Number 1, you have to raise approximately $40,000.
What? You got to raise money to debate?
To get into the debate, to show that you're a credible candidate is what I was told. And then number 2, you have to poll in a survey above 10%. The survey was done last week. I polled above 10% in Kent County, yay, but I was lower in Newcastle and Sussex County, so I didn't make the cut. Chris Coons isn't going to debate at that. He canceled already. Lauren Witzke, who's the Republican candidate, now doesn't even get a chance to debate because Chris Coons canceled. So I believe I'm going to be in the League of Women Voters debate, which will be virtual on October 28th. They've invited me already. And there is supposed to be one other debate, but Chris Coons will not be there. Chris Coons is too good to come from Washington, D.C. to participate in a debate in Delaware.
And he, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna keep my.
I'm gonna stop there as well.
Yeah, we're gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of that other person. I actually, what's crazy, I guess I could share the story because it happened. I was following out with Disrupt the Focus, during the time when, peaceful protests were going on. And I went to downtown on the Green, and she was down there. And I didn't like what I saw. There was these people with all these guns. I'm like, yo, what's going on? And just the way that, like, we weren't supposed to be there. And I said, I'm coming to see what she got to say. She didn't have a whole lot of people there. But it was just a way in what it made me feel like because I was black, I ain't had no right to be there. You feel me?
Yeah.
I just want to share that. But
well,
I think she know that Smack the Indie Plug is not a fan. She know.
I won't talk about her immigration platform. You can look it up if you want to, but I will tell you about mine.
Yeah.
So I believe we need extensive immigration reform. There are problems with the immigration laws, but the biggest deal that I see with immigration, familiar with DACA, the DACA program?
Yeah.
There are 900,000 DACA recipients floating in the United States today. They're adults now, most of them. They came across the border illegally for the most part with their parents. Obama put this program together. It was, in my estimation, one of his best days when he put the DACA program together. So he protected them, so they couldn't be sent back. So the other candidate has a policy where all DACA recipients should be sent back to the country they came from. In my platform, and I'll quote it, a sensible pathway to citizenship. They deserve it. They've been here.
They've already been here a long time.
They're, in my view, the majority of them are American citizens already. A lot of them. I met one in Salisbury. I met a girl in Salisbury. I was looking for a car. She was Hispanic of some sort. And we got talking. I was looking at the car and everything. And I said to her, hey, by the way, I'm running for the U.S. Senate. I appreciate it if you take a look at me. Look at my platform. I'm not saying vote for me, but look at me. And she goes, I can't vote. She goes, I'm a DACA recipient. We had a long conversation about what they have to go through, right? And I said, you know what? You need a pathway to citizenship because there are 900,000 people who have worked hard to get where they're at. A lot of them went to college already.
Yeah.
A lot of them have jobs already. They need a sensible pathway to citizenship. It's not hard to figure that one out.
Yeah, that's not hard at all. Some of them been here for years. Like a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that on your platform, and I was like, yo, that's dope. Let me tell you. Let me see where we at. We're just about there. We're going to answer this last question from Ramon again. He says, do you have any plans for financial literacy to be taught to young people to hopefully help them become adults that make better decisions? And you being a businessman, I know you got the right answer for that.
Absolutely. Again, the federal government threw out the program, I can't think, Common Core. Common Core. You're familiar with that?
I've heard that, yes.
It was a federal program that was pushed down to the states. It's a terrible, terrible system of math, number one, because it's not usable, functional math. It's different. The teachers in my family, nobody really liked it. I believe 1,000% that the schools have to prepare kids, young kids, old kids, for financial literacy because they get out and they don't even know how to make change, more or less run a budget. I mean, Anybody that runs a business, a small business, has to run a budget. I mean, I learned it. I figured my way out through it. But kids have to come out of school, out of every level of school, better prepared for financial literacy. 100%. 100%.
That's what's up. So look, guys, there you have it. You had anything else you wanted to expound on?
I think we covered all my platform issues. My website I'll go over once. It's www.turley2020.com.
Yeah, you can't. www.turley, Turley 2020.com.
Yep. My platform's on there. My family's on there.
He's on there.
Yeah, I've got a few things on there, and you take a look at the platform, see what you think. That's all I ask anybody. I want your vote. I want your support. But at the end of the day, you've got to want me. And if you want me, you're going to go to the polls and you're going to vote for me. You're going to go to my website and you're going to donate $5 or $10. You're going to send me an email and say, hey, Mark, you talked about this, but I wasn't sure about this. I answer my emails. So that's where I'm at on all this.
There it is. So look, also this Saturday, he has a meet and greet. Y'all can actually come meet with him. You gonna be drinking? It's like,
no.
I'm messing.
I don't
drink either.
I don't drink.
I don't drink anymore
Sorry.
either. But anyway, you can meet and greet. See, I got you laughing again. You can come and meet and greet at the Golden Fleece, October the 17th, 7:30. Come down and have a decent conversation, you know?
Yeah.
This was great.
130, what is it?
A lot about you. You can't judge a book by its cover.
132 West Lockerman, I think?
Oh, yeah. 132 West Lockerman Street, Dover, Delaware.
Yeah. I look
For
forward.
all my people out there that's in Dover, y'all know where the Golden Fleece is, okay?
7:30 Saturday evening.
7:30.
Yep.
And don't forget to vote.
Yeah.
Election day is November the 3rd. And like I said, if you need a ride, call me. All right? I will give you a ride to go and vote. It's very important we vote November the 3rd. Thank y'all for tuning in. Plug Studio Network. Don't forget www.turley2020.com. Smack the indie plug. We out of here.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.